Well, this is the third in the series of our former player interviews, and we're delighted today to have one of our title-winning captains with us in Adam Flynn. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
Joining us from America. How have you ended up over there?
Well, a long story short, I went from working for Liverpool Academy in obviously in England to representing the club here in North Texas. So there was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down, and I obviously took that opportunity with both hands, and now I'm here. Been here for 7 years.
You enjoying it?
Yeah, I love it. Kids love it. The wife loves it, and it's just it's a different world for sure. And we've loved every second, and hopefully we can stay a lot longer too.
Do you want to stay? Do you? You don't really want to come back?
I mean, what would you rather do? Live in England or live in America right now? I think that's an easy one, to be honest. It's amazing out here, and even during the pandemic, it's been pretty straightforward, and there's not been too many hiccups like there has been back home. And watching everything back home has been a bit of a drama, to be honest. And I just we're very lucky to be able to be here and doing what we're doing and living our lives as normal, really.
Yeah. What does your job involve out there, Adam?
I'm a technical director right now at a youth soccer club called DKSC, which stands for Defeaters Kicks Soccer Club. And I coach girls. We're a boys and girls club, but the majority of our teams are girls. We've got some very high level players. As an example, one of our U18 girls played for Colombia's national team just a couple of weeks ago. So, that's the type of caliber of player that we have in the club. And obviously a lot of the girls aspire to play for the United States, and it's our job to make sure that they fulfill those dreams.
Excellent. Yeah, I guess you get a lot of satisfaction from it.
Oh, incredible amount of satisfaction as a coach now, enabling kids to play at the next level and play professionally, play in college is what it's all about. And pretty emotional stuff.
How much of your experiences growing up in Liverpool's academy can you carry over into this role? Everything
I've ever been through, anything that any coach has ever poured into me, I'm now pouring that back into these kids tenfold. And sometimes some kids take it on board and push on. Other times it's a little bit too much for some kids, and you've got to find that balance of how to treat certain kids and certain players, and how much you pour into them, what you tell them, and when you tell them, and stuff like that. But yeah, I try to give them as much of my experience as possible and support them in their development as a person and as a player too.
Excellent. But as I say, it must be very satisfying to see the kids go on and on to progress into bigger things.
Yeah, I mean, now I know how my mum and dad felt when they saw me progress, through the ranks at Liverpool, and obviously playing semi-professionally as well for clubs like Southport. And it's even though they're not my own kids, you treat them like your own kids, and they certainly respond very well. So I'm really happy for every kid that we give the opportunity to go on and play at the next level.
Give us a bit of a walkthrough then of your career, how you got into football. So we've mentioned already that you were part of Liverpool's academy setup. How did that all come about?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, from the beginning, I'm one of 6 kids. I come from a rugby league town in St Helens. And obviously football, you were either Man United or Liverpool, to be fair. Like, Everton wasn't even in the question, I don't think. No offense, Alamugan. So my dad was a massive Red. His dad was a massive Red. So obviously I took down the football route, and my brother played football and rugby. My younger brother was a professional rugby player at Widnes for 10 years. So, it was either one or the other. And, obviously I chose football. It was a great opportunity for me to just express myself in the game and play a game that I loved from a very early age. I then, played locally. My mum was the coach, as an example. And then that took me into playing for Wigan at some point, maybe 10, 11 years of age. And I think when I was about 12, I had a trial with Liverpool, and they turned me down. I wasn't as good as the players that they already had on their team, and they turned me away and said, come back next year. I went back the year later. I made the team, basically. So, you know, a little bit of perseverance. The first kind of knockdown, if you like, as a player at 12 years of age is, you know, it's a test of your character and who you are and who your parents are and how you deal with it. And we went away, worked on my game for a year, came back and, you know, and got the rewards of signing my first contract with Liverpool at 13 years of age. So enjoyed a very good youth career at Liverpool in terms of playing in the academy, playing with some high level players, and obviously being in touch with some incredible coaches, life-changing coaches, if you like, in Steve Highway, Dave Shannon, John Owens, Hugh Macaulay, and obviously meeting some great friends along the way. I think at that time, Alan Mugan was a year older than me, playing at Everton, and so by the time I became a scholar at Liverpool, and we ended up playing against each other, that's kind of the first taste that I got of, you know, that competitive edge of someone like Alan Mugan. And now we're very good friends off the field too. We've worked together since, and obviously we played, you know, quite a few games together at Southport. So from that perspective, I think, you know, my career was at that point was good, was strong. Like you said, ultimately, I think we forget sometimes what the game is about, and it's about building relationships, building friendships, you know, fueling that love of the game. And I think I did all of that from 13 to 19 at Liverpool. Got as far as the reserves. Unfortunately, wasn't good enough. And I say unfortunately because, you know, it would have been unbelievable if I made a first team debut or play for Liverpool. But the reality was, I wasn't good enough, and that's okay. And I think, you know, I think Liverpool did a great job with me in particular of helping me understand, you know what, this, you know, it's going to be tough to break into the first team. You're not quite at the level. And I kind of knew when the time came about what was going to happen. So it kind of had less of a sting. It still hurt, of course, but it's still, you know, I was mentally prepared for it. Let's put it that way. What I wasn't mentally prepared for was going to Prescott Cables about 4 weeks later, which was a shock in itself. You know, meeting the lads at the bus and outside the pub, and one of the lads coming out who I was about to play with, Lee Jones, I think his name was, and he had a pint in his hand before the game, and so I'd gone from, you know, absolute professionalism to the dog and duck, and you know, no disrespect to Prescott Cables, it was an unbelievable 2 years for me at the Cables in terms of understanding what I was getting myself into. I played some of my best football at Prescott Cables. You know, I became a captain at the Cables right really early in my career at like 20 years of age, and I think that stood me in good stead to have a successful non-league career as well.
Where did you go from Prescott Cables? Burscough was your next destination, was it?
Yeah.
A certain Mr. Watson.
Yeah, Watson got a hold of me from the Cables. He took Duffy from Cables to Southport, I think, but I'm sure there was a lot of players that came from the Cables, especially. It was a good stepping point for any player that just fell out of the game. Carl Baker's another good one. And I'm sure they've had many more. But no, for me, it was that next stepping stone in my career to get to where I got to.
What was your time like at Burscough then, Adam, once you moved from Prescott to Burscough?
Again, in terms of leaving Prescott and going to Burscough, I think I won the Player of the Year in the first year that I was there. I want to say that. And that shows you the type of year I had in terms of, you know, my game. But I think the reality was at the time, Burscough was supposed to be this, you know, up and coming club, you know, with a new chairman, new ground, and, you know, well, new ground in the future type of thing. And I really bought into that vision at the time. But no, I enjoyed my time there. Fans were great. Chairman was great. Obviously, Liam was great as the manager. And as everybody knows, a lot of the lads that ended up being at Southport were at Burscough too. So the lads were awesome too. So it was good.
Yeah, so you were one of the ones that moved en masse from Burscough to Southport, and that was in 2008-9. What was that first season like settling in at Southport?
Well, first off, I was one of the last ones to go.
Were you?
And I think I was the last one. And I kept saying to Liam, what's going on? What's going on? And it's like, we don't want to take everybody at the same time, but I obviously ended up going, and I think that was a bit of a relief, because I was like, am I going or not? And I ended up going. First year at Southport, I mean, honestly, my memory isn't great. You probably know more than I do, but nobody likes preseason. Certainly myself and Earl. And saying that, the funny thing is, myself and Earl end up playing a lot of games together and doing very well together. Yeah. Although I do remember in that first season, I think James Connolly was there too. So yeah, I think that first season was obviously a big step up from Prescott Cables to Burscough to Southport. Yeah. A big step up in the expectations as well, from the fans and where the team was required to be. And I think, honestly, I think the lads were ready for that.
Yeah. Can you remember that there was one particular game in that season? I'm going to throw a little quiz question at you now. At Gateshead in October 2008, can you remember what happened?
Tony McMillan got sent off.
Yeah.
And I went in goal.
You did, didn't you? It was quite a good afternoon as well, wasn't you? You made some good saves from memory, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I remember dossing about on the pitch, actually. And like the ball would come and it would trickle into me and I'd dive on it or something like that.
That's right.
If my memory serves me right. But I also remember, I think the reason he got sent off was because I played a pass back, and it was too short. I
wasn't going to mention that, Adam, but seeing as you brought it up, we'll live with it.
Yeah, I'm not bothered. It was 20 years ago, it seems like, but I really couldn't care less now. But I'm sure Tony McMillan still hates me for it, but I'm just kidding. I know Tony loves me. But no, I do remember that now. It's funny what memories you can bring back just on a little trigger like that. I do remember it. It was in that, that stadium of theirs. I'm not sure if they still play there, but yeah, I played a short back pass to him, and I think it was Lee Novak at the time. Got to it first and took it round him, and Tony took him down, and I had to go and goal. So yeah, that wasn't the best thing I've ever done.
I don't know if you remember, but at the end you got a standing ovation from the Southport fans, and they were chanting Southport's #1 or England's #1, weren't they?
Well, what I do remember, as well as that, was, I mean, they shouldn't have done that first and foremost, because the goal that they scored went between my legs, I think. And it was funny because I didn't want to use my hands, because obviously I was an outfield player, but I just remember it going through my legs, and I thought, well, I could have used my hands there, but I didn't. So, and it went in, and I was gutted, because I think it was 1-1, was it? We draw the game. Geez, I remember a lot, don't I?
You do. I remember a very good late save from you as well, which kept it a 1-1. I don't know if you can remember that.
I don't remember that, but I'll take it.
No, you did. Promise you.
So
we're moving on to 2009-10.
Well, before we jump there, Rob, that first season you were installed as club captain straight away. You said that you felt it was a step up. Did that add a bit of pressure onto you?
I don't think I was. I thought James Connolly was the captain the first season.
Oh, I thought it was yourself, and you certainly came away with the awards at the end of the year as well, with the Players' Player of the Year. So you'd had the Manager's Player of the Year before, and the Players' Players. You certainly adapted to the level. Yeah.
No, I think, like I said, I think we were ready. I think everybody was ready. And the best part about that is Liam knew we were ready, or else he wouldn't have brought us across. So that belief from your manager to the players, the belief that he instilled in us that we could do it at that level was obviously all we needed to do what we did. And I know we got close in that first season, but for the playoff, was it against Gateshead? So I think I think we got close, but we all know the history that we wrote the couple of seasons later. So it was always coming, and it's funny how Liam goes down as one of the best non-league managers there's been, because of he knew his stuff, and he still does, I'm sure. I just haven't seen him for a long time. But with that said, I think not only was I ready, I think everybody was ready too. And that was important. It wasn't just me out there, Earl alongside me, Alan in midfield, Powley, Dales, you name it. The experience in that team was pretty phenomenal.
That 2009-10 season was one we'll never forget, but it was a long season, wasn't it? And do you remember the battles we had with Fleetwood? One of the best games we've ever seen, I think, at the ground on Boxing Day.
Yeah, no, I remember the Boxing Day game. I think did Earl score 2 in that game?
Yeah,
we'll let you forget it.
No, he won't, and nor should he, because quite rightly, Earl's going down in the folklore at Southport, and it's well deserved. Having worked with someone like him for a number of years and seeing the dedication he has towards the game, and the way he puts his heart on the line and his body on the line for the team. He's a leader. Without being the captain, he was a leader in that changing room, and everyone respected him massively. So that Boxing Day game was just one of many where he stepped up for his team and did his job ultimately. And Liam would always rib him, but he was a massive part of that team, and as was everybody else. Everybody played the part, and I think in any successful team, you've got to, in order to be successful, everybody's got to pull their weight and everybody's got to do the job, and I think that's what we had. And the good news is that we did our job better than anybody else, so that's why we were successful.
How did the players feel that season, Adam, with all the thing that was going on with Fleetwood, the Farsley situation? Did it impact on the players? Did it make more determined?
More determined for sure. Hearing what they were spending in that league and having to compete with that as a smaller club, if you like. I think every club under Fleetwood was a smaller club in terms of salaries and things like that. But no, I just think it motivated us to push on and work harder than they did. Prove them wrong. Kind of the underdog story, isn't it? But I felt that we did a great job of proving that the lesser team, the lesser players, so called, can always beat someone like that.
Yeah, it was, and then we finally won it at Eastwood. And what do you remember about that day?
Well, I remember the drive home more than anything, but I just remember we were obviously very confident going into the game, knowing that our future was in our hands, and if we were to win that game, then obviously we'd go up, we'd win the league. And again, I think, was it McGinn scored a PK, and Simo scored. He won't never let you forget that. And then Chris Lever scored in the second half, and I think we took a lot of fans. I know my wife and my son was there. That was special for me. And then on the way back, I think Kev Lee gave Andy Pilley a call, and we gave him what for on the phone. Everyone got everyone but me. Just kidding.
I think I had a special song for Andy Pilley, if I remember rightly at the time, which we can't repeat on view.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I just know Kev Lee does what Kev Lee does best, and called him up, wound him up, and told him what for, which is strictly banter, I'm sure, but and I'm sure Andy Pilley took it like that, because I know those guys are doing pretty well right now, which is fair play to them. But at that time, it was a massive achievement from us to do what we did, and I think the lads certainly enjoyed that victory parade for sure.
You talk about some of the characters there. Kev Lee was obviously one. It was a team where there was a lot of characters together, wasn't there? But you gelled so well together that season. That's what made it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think that there was one person on the team, apart from Simo maybe, that people didn't like. People still don't like Simo today, so it's fine. but other than that, I think everyone got on well. You know, we all went out together. We all we did a lot of things together. Obviously, we played well together ultimately, which is the most important thing. But you know, a lot has to be said about those bus journeys to and from games where the lads, you know, get to know each other, play cards, or you know, talk to each other, listen to music, whatever, drink together. And I think, like I said, a lot of that credit has to go to Liam because he put the right players together. He got the right mix. You know, there was a few lads on the team that didn't talk too much. A lot of lads that sat at the front of the bus and kept themselves to themselves. But once they crossed that line, they knew the job, and we knew we could trust them, and that's what they did.
So although you're out in the States, are you still in touch with a lot of the lads from then?
Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group that the lads are all in that Simo pesters us with almost every day, and a lot of the lads are in that. Yeah, so we keep in touch regularly.
Do you think you could have actually gone on to a higher level, Adam, if you'd have wanted to?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to. Yeah, I think so.
Says that the only reason that you didn't become a Football League player is it's all down to you, basically. He said, you know, you could have done it if you'd have wanted to. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, he's right. Liam's not wrong very often, especially when it comes to, you know, what he's seen and what he's done and his experience in football. And I think, honestly, it's the busiest time of the year for me. I'm getting calls left, right, and centre.
Okay.
My coaching career took over, and you know, I'm not a man of excuses, but you know, from a work perspective, obviously work took over, and when you're playing part-time, you've got to make a decision and a choice. I had a young family at home, and you know, I had to do what was best for them. And chasing a football career at the age of 20, 26, 27 was not something that I was willing to do.
And ultimately, that's what led to you leaving Southport effectively in the conference, wasn't it? The extra demands of the national travel and all that sort of stuff was one of the reasons, we believe.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons. There was plenty of reasons, but you know, I think one of the main reasons was the dedication that league required from a full-time football player's perspective, and I think Liam did what was best for the club. You know, I certainly accepted it at the time, although didn't agree with it totally. But you've got to understand it from a football business perspective as well. And so, you know, Liam made the right choice for the club, and I accepted it. So, you know, that's kind of why we ended up where we're at. But yeah, I don't hold that against anybody. We all did what we had to do.
Did you find it a big step up, Adam, going from Conference North into Conference National? Because we did struggle a bit that first season, but what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm a coach, though, I think it was more to do with strategy and you know, systems of play and not necessarily the ability of the players. Like you said, you know, I think from my perspective, I could have played at the next level. I know a lot of the lads had played at the next level, or were in very similar situations to me, and that's why they found themselves at Southport. So I think we were ready. I think we could have done better at that level for sure. But again, we'll be taken aback by the quality in the conference, or was the style of play difference in the conference, or was the physical capabilities of the players different in the conference? Yeah, big time. I think we were playing against some full-time teams, and when you play against some full-time teams, you play football every day and are fit and strong and can work on set pieces or work on tactical play or whatever you want to call it. Then yeah, I think you're at a disadvantage as a part-time club. And I think at the time, I want to say we were practicing 2 times a week for an hour and a half. And when you do the comparison, it's night and day really as to what you're up against. And I think that really showed in that first year for sure.
We were up against the likes of Luton and teams that season, weren't you? Which was they were getting 6,000 crowds regularly, and it was a difficult league, wasn't it?
Yeah, but again, I know Southport. That's where Southport Football Club wants to be. It's where Southport Football Club belongs, and I think that's where any player that plays for Southport has to aspire to be as well. So Luton, Fleetwood, call them what you want, but at the same time, Southport's got a big name out there too, and I think, I think that's where they belong, and I think that's where they need to be. So if they're not, then they're underachieving.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you left Southport, then you went on to Altrincham, a season at Altrincham, I think, and then on to Warrington. What made you move there?
Well, the opportunity first and foremost. I think Lee Sinnott was the manager at Altrincham, and gave me an opportunity to play at a decent level that I played at before. Obviously, had experience of winning that league, and so I saw that as an opportunity to go and continue to play more than anything. I think that season with Altrincham was hampered by injuries, and not necessarily serious injuries, but like hamstring injuries and quad injuries and things like that, muscle injuries. And I think it was like 26 or 27 at the time, and I was thinking, well, geez, I'm a bit young for this. But they just, for whatever reason, kept tapping in, and it was kind of a broken season in terms of performance. Although when I played well, did what I usually do. But yeah, it just kind of petered out there at Altrincham, and then obviously an opportunity came at Warrington to continue to play at an even lower level, and obviously I took it. And at that point, I was kind of debating whether I should be playing at all, because there's only so far you can go, and obviously work has kind of taken over at that point, and yeah, I just took the opportunity when it came. Tried to play as long as I could, and obviously got the opportunity to work full time overseas, and took that.
So obviously you're still in football, but do you miss playing?
No. I play with my kids now, and I'm still really good. But I'm just kidding.
I'm sure you are.
No, I'm so much better than these 14-year-old girls. It's unbelievable. No, I'm just kidding. There's some very talented kids here in America, by the way. But one thing I would say is I miss the lads more than anything. You miss the changing room before the game, after the game. I miss the coach journeys, the banter, the friendships, really. That's what I miss the most about it, because once you leave football, it's hard to find that. It's hard to find that camaraderie. It's hard to find that, those types of friendships. It's hard to find someone to talk to in terms of just have banter with. We talked about Chris Sim earlier. I used to drive in with Chris Sim, and we used to talk a lot of crap to each other, let's put it that way. And it continued in the changing room. It continues now after football, but you can't. I don't go to work now and talk the way I talk to him. You know what I mean? I'd get shot in America. but that's what I'm saying. Like in England, it's obviously a lot different, and I just miss. I don't necessarily miss the game or the thrill of the game. I used to get nervous before games, and I hated that. I used to walk out first as captain. I never wasn't captain. I'd walk out last. Things like that. Don't miss it. Just don't. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm sure as captain of a club like Southport, there was a lot of pressure on me regardless. I felt I dealt with it pretty well at the time, but looking back, I think I did everything I could to be successful, to make the team successful. And and the good news is I've took that into my coaching now, and hopefully made me a better coach because of it. So I almost wish that if I was coaching now, the way I'm coaching now, if I was doing that back then, I'd be a better player for it.
What would be your one greatest memory then of playing for Southport, Adam?
I think lifting the league trophy was the biggest and best memory of playing for Southport. didn't score too many goals. I almost regret not scoring more goals. But you know, what are you going to do about that? So yeah, winning the league was huge, especially in the circumstances. Being the guy that lifted the trophy for this club, and you know, being the front of that charge to win that league that year was tremendous. I think the FA Cup appearance against Sheffield Wednesday, although it didn't go the way we wanted it to, was again seeing Southport Stadium full of fans was amazing. So I think those two things are right up there for me in terms of, you know, achievements and best memories at Southport Football Club.
Excellent. Dan, have you got anything else you want to ask Adam?
Where were your medals? Are they pride of place?
No. I know you probably don't want to hear that, but no, they're at my wife's dad's, I think. He's probably got them on his neck right now.
Well, you certainly brought a lot of great memories to Southport fans, and I think, you know, it was a fantastic season, particularly 2009-10. You know, it's one we never forget, because we don't win that many titles, so you certainly brought a lot of pleasure to a lot of Southport fans that season. And I think we'd like to thank you for your time tonight. It's great to get you online, and if you ever do come over to Southport, please do call in, won't you, to the ground and see us, and I'm sure we'll get you a ticket to get into one of the games once all this nonsense that's on at the moment is over, and we'd love to see you back.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Adam.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Take care.